We are celebrating our 100th episode of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, we just want to say thank you so much for sticking by us.
Yeah, we could not have done it without you guys, and thank you so much for your love and support.
And your ideas and your artwork and your fan fiction and just all of it.
And just keep telling us you love us, because otherwise I'm going to go out there and kick your ass, okay?
I won't do that, but she will.
Yeah.
I think it's going to take a little bit of time to appreciate fully. I think you need some hindsight, but at the same time, it's strange to think we've done that many, isn't it?
I am the exact opposite. Like, I'm super emotional, but I think we reacted to it definitely differently.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, it's gonna take some time. I'm like, I don't need any more time. I'm already like crying all the time for no reason. It's like especially since the 100th is such an emotional episode to begin with, and sitting in that room with the people that we've shared so much time with and for the past 5 years, and reading that episode and saying Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for the 100th time, and really like looking at how like, I mean, so many babies have been born while we've been on this journey, and relationships have been forming too. I get really emotional about it. He makes fun of me. It's become such a genuine family, and I know a lot of shows say that and a lot of people say that, but we have such an incredible crew, and we've gone through a lot of stuff together as actors and as coworkers and as friends, off camera and on camera. I get really emotional about it. You're the opposite, but I'm like, couldn't stop crying at the table read.
I mean, it sounds corny, but it definitely is. The people that you spend that much time with, they really become a huge part of your life.
Getting to, we've been really lucky to get to go to so many Comic-Cons and all over the world, really, and meet such loyal fans and really grow with our fan base and grow with, I've met some of the same people throughout the 5 years, and really as like a young woman who started out on the show, and it's meeting young girls who have looked up to Sky and Daisy and seen her be like really grow and really struggle with herself and really struggle with her powers and what it means for her to be different and what it means for her to find love and really kind of grow into herself as a young woman and have this also get to be a badass on top of that. It's when I have young girls who say, I didn't want to, I had a young girl I met a few months ago where she's like, I didn't want to, try out for the soccer team, and I did because your character gave me motivation to do so, or I was nervous to act because I never saw someone on TV who looked like me, and you look like me, and you're half Asian, or it's cheesy, but it genuinely just means so much to me, because when I was a kid, I didn't see someone like Ming-Na on TV kicking ass and beating, taking down men on her own terms and really defining what it means to be feminine, and getting to it's a responsibility, but it's one that I've really loved to have.
It feels spectacular, not only just because we got to 100, that it's the first Marvel television show. It's the first Marvel television show to get to 100. So a lot of firsts happening today, and to do it with such a great cast, such a great group of showrunners and writers and crew and everybody that's on this lot, that has really just been our home for the last 4 years, and hopefully for a lot longer.
Yeah, I would agree. 100, we get so busy. It's kind of the great comic book TV show locomotive where you're just dealing with the next. Our lives are very much like the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You're just dealing with the next day's work, the next crisis, the next this. And you see that there's this thing on the calendar that says 100 on it. And for me, it's really not until you walk in here and you say it out loud and you look around at your friends and you realize, oh my God, we pulled this off. We've managed to do this long.
We
and
robbed
take
the
these
bank and
characters.
got away. And the horses are still fresh.
Yes, they are. The show does not reach 100 episodes without incredible fans, and that's particularly appropriate and true of this show because this show only exists because of fans. You know, Coulson was a guy who served a purpose and had a little snark and a little represented S.H.I.E.L.D. and wrangled a few superheroes in several movies, and then had a rather glorious exit, courtesy of Josh, in The Avengers, and he was done. And that was really it. And the fans, because he was their normal person avatar, they threw a bit of a hashtag fit. And luckily, I work for a company where they listen to the fans, and the fans are the fellow comic book nerds like themselves. And so the show was born, and it's gone through a lot of iterations. To me, one of the most striking things about it is they are fearless about tearing it all down, and even after our most successful seasons, start again in a different part of the Marvel universe. And the fans have stuck with it and championed it, many of them very vocally. Many of them have become friends of ours. We see them at various parts of the country when we go, and it's been one of the most thrilling parts of my particular journey is to feel that, to be in Paris and be in an amusement park and have little boys come up and go, Coulson. It's why you do it, honestly.
We had gone and we had told ABC this is what we were going to do, and by the way, you know, Coulson's going to be in it, and of course they asked the magical question, which is, well, does Clark have any interest in doing that? And so I got the honor of being able to call and say, maybe not so dead. And just at that moment realizing that his enthusiasm and his willingness to come on board and be my partner from the very beginning, and someone that I trust explicitly, not only through 100 episodes, but through any number of episodes, is just been a pleasure. And so, you know, that's one that sparks to me.
There's so many of them just for the nerdy Coulson Marvel fan of me. Having Nick Fury show up and call me an Avenger and give me back my crazy gun from the Avengers, that was an amazing one. But really the ones that have been the most memorable to me now are, and maybe because the membrane between me and Phil Coulson is so narrow at this point, the moments when these young actors who came together like me and kind of started a whole new chapter of this together and didn't know each other and were under a lot of pressure in a very bumpy ship, to watch each of them step up, Chloe and Iain and Elizabeth and Ming and now Henry and Natalia and the others that we've lost, Brett and Luke, even some people like Ruth Negga, amazing actors, to watch each of these people who came and became part of our family step up at a certain point, both in the scene with Coulson and, you know, just as actors, and become everything that he hoped they would be. And that I've been lucky enough to benefit from getting to work with them. That's been the real joy for me.
First of all, I feel tired.
But it seems like we've been filming forever, but also a week.
Yeah.
Because everything's so fresh and...
Well, I think we genuinely love each other and enjoy coming to work.
Yeah.
And our writers are always so fresh with the stories and creating things that are spectacular or exciting and
every
unexpected.
New script we can't wait to read it. And
But 100 episodes, can you believe that? 5 years.
It's crazy.
It went by fast. It's like raising children. It really is. Like it starts off like, oh, they're little babies, and then they're all grown up before you know it. You know, time flies.
Yeah, time does fly. You just get so close to everyone. Yeah. And then as an actor, you get to tell so many stories, and you get to have have your character have such a progression and a timeline that you don't, we've been with these people for 5 years.
Yeah. And I think it's so different from other shows or regular dramas or a sitcom, because one moment we're fighting aliens, and another moment we're flying an invisible plane, and another moment,
much
you know,
happens, yeah.
there's explosions and there's funny bits and
Yeah.
and people in weird costumes, blue people
Yeah.
showing up, and I think there's no other show that can provide such challenges for actors
Yeah.
not to break up laughing.
And we do.
We do,
sometimes.
yeah.
People that watch our show are so invested and honestly know more than I do about all the different storylines that have happened. And it's such a, I've always felt completely welcomed by the Marvel Universe. It's just,
Yes.
you know, right from the start we were, and I mean, they'll tell you what they think. They'll say if they don't like something, but it's always in kind of a will to make it better. And yeah, I just
And they want to love it.
Right.
You know, and I think the 5 years doing 100 episodes is sort of a testament that we are listening to them, or we're
Right.
giving them what they want, because
They've
every
stuck by
year,
us and-
yeah, there's been just such a growth, not in the fan base only, but the love and the dedication and the excitement
and the fan fiction that people write and
Yeah.
the
And the
drawings,
artwork.
the artwork
Yes.
is just, it's such a wonderful part of
Yeah.
getting this gig that I didn't think of coming into it. It's really special.
Right. And they're talented, you know, they're talented, they're smart, our fans
Yeah.
are
Funny.
dedicated,
Yeah.
and they relate to us as we relate to them, I think. Because a lot of our stories is about misfits, is about trying to be heroes in dire situations, or just trying to
Feeling
discover
insecure,
ourselves
or-
and the
yeah.
insecurities that we have. And you know, that's why I love going to
That's human,
cons.
yeah.
It's really being able to share in those insecurities and vulnerabilities and humanity with our fans.
We're the worst because we jump so badly at anything. So we're like
I
the
know,
easy
I'm not
prey.
HMA at all.
Oh my gosh, it is brilliant though. See, I mean, there's
Yeah.
so many slow-mo videos of us, I feel like just, it doesn't even have to be much. Someone could just go, oh, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh my God, oh God, don't do that. So we're usually the victims.
It feels amazing. We keep saying, you know, neither of us were here from the beginning, so it's not my 100th episode, but I think this cast and crew deserve 500 if they can get there, and if they want to get there, because they are definitely just the best group of people I've ever worked with, as humans and as artists. They're wonderful. Jed, Mo, Jeff Bell, Gary, they've all created such an incredible family, and I'm just proud that I got to be here to see them be celebrated.
Yeah, personally, you know, I've said before, I don't really get into milestones like that. The thing that I'm most proud of personally, and that means so much to me, is that I was able to work with these wonderful people, the cast, the crew, the writers, everyone, for the last 4 years, whatever it may be. That to me is greater than any milestone. Just to be able to come to work with people that are passionate, professional, that care about what they're doing. But besides all that, just wonderful people. And I'm saying everyone.
Two things. I love stunts. I love doing physical stuff. I was a dancer, so to get to have a character where I constantly have to use my body is really special to me. Makes me feel young and strong as a woman. And then it's been very special to me as a immigrant Mexican female to be acting next to an African-American man and be representing our people and sort of giving younger generations a reflection of what they can attain, and that it's here and it's theirs to take. So that's, to me, the two most, I think, significant things.
The thing that's really significant for me is that you have a diverse cast, and the people of power are women. And I've said this before, I'll say it again. On different other shows, you'll have minorities and you'll have women. but they'll be in the peripheral. They'll be attached to a storyline. Yeah, or the woman will be attached to the man who has the purposeful storyline, and you know, she's added on. Where here, the minorities, the women, everyone, people of color, they have a purpose here, and we're brought to the forefront at times. And everyone is an integral part to the show. They're not just, they're not on the peripheral. They're not just someone, oh, we're gonna put a woman in there just so we can look good, or have people of color so we can look good. No, everyone serves a purpose here. And I'm very proud of that.
So our superpower really is the love for each other. And to be able to be in a show which the broader impact, the profound impact of it all is that, let's save each other, let's love each other, is really special. And to do it with such a big fan base that they're just wonderful. I've known other shows where the fan base can be a little like, you don't know. And it's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is kind of, you know, again, the law of reflection. The show reflects its fans and its fans reflect the show. The show is a wonderful family and its fandom is a wonderful fandom. So I'm just very proud to be able to send that message and to be part of it.
It's a great achievement as writers and as a show to get there, but it's more about the fact that we've all sort of gelled so much over the last many years as a group, as a family, and that, you know, it's such a group effort. It's such a team sport. You know, we're the only ones who get asked about it, but it is a team sport. That's the great thing about making movies and making TV is we have an idea, but the idea has to be fleshed out by a bunch of people. It has to be built, and then it has to be performed, and it has to be scored and edited. And
every single person in our cast and crew has contributed to getting us here. Yeah.
So we're proud of the work, but mostly proud of the work everyone's done. You know.
There were a lot of expectations. Not only our own, but there's also Joss, and then there's also just all the creative aspect of it. It was a giant team. Right. So trying to figure out who we were as a show, where we should exist, it took a little while. Also, we had to keep the whole Hydra secret under wraps for until Captain America came out. But I do really think once we were able to let that giant cat out of the bag, we finally found our footing, and we became the show that we were supposed to be, or always meant to be.
And there's a dark underbelly to the show, which is Hydra. And, you know, once we exposed that, it sort of turned our drama inward. And, you know, it's a spy show. Spies like to spy on each other. And so once we sort of found that dark edge and went fully serialized with it, it starts to take on its own life. And that's one of the things that's so fun about looking back on it and living it. The great thing about TV is you set these sort of goals, these tent poles of where you want the season to go and where you want it to sort of end, but those are really sort of landmarks in the distance. You don't know how you're going to get there, and we have a group of brilliant people who figure that out and sit in a room and trying to figure out, and you're reacting to the cast and to this person we cast is actually really good. We should make them the villain for 2 years. You know, the way it evolves, you can't predict it, you know. You're on a ride, it's a wave and you're riding it. So it's fun to now get to, and you're trying to steer it, but you know, you could never have in any part of year 1, year 2, year 3 have pointed to the 100th episode and said, it'll be this. So it's a great time for us to look back on everything and to kind of recap all we've been through, and a little bit that's what the 100th episode is. We'll walk the line of doing for the audience and for everybody making the show is sort of a way for us to reflect on all that.
We're both kids that grew up around film production. My dad, he's a transportation coordinator, so I grew up as... He's our transportation coordinator, in fact. I grew up around sets, you know, and mostly seeing it through the transpo department perspective, and then, you know, throughout life, started doing things, working as a child in it. And Jed comes from a family of writers and his father. So I think the magic of making television and film is still something that gets to us. The fact that we start with a blank board in a room full of gifted writers and we have nothing, and then
6 weeks later, they built a new thing.
Yeah, this plane, you know, anything and everything that happens on our show. We want cars to flip. Okay, yeah, there are a handful of
of guys who make that happen. Those moments still get to us, and which is why we do have this philosophy about working together, that when it stops being fun, that's when you walk away. And here we are 5 years later, and we're still having fun.
Yeah, I think that, you know, the thing I love about, as you were referring to, the thing that's so fun about watching a show or watching a movie is there's an ownership to anybody who works on it. You know, I'm obsessed for some reason with when you're indoors on a stage and there's those leaves blowing in the background out the window. That's someone holding a fan. And when that person watches that, they're like, nailed it. You know, they know that they did their job. One of the moments that sticks out for me is the origin of Quake, of Daisy Johnson. You know, we had, it was one of those moments where every department had to do something cool. And so, you know, we had had the idea of how we would do it. We wanted her to break out of it. So we, you know, everybody in the writers' room had contributed to that moment. Jeff Bell wrote a great script. We got to the stage. We had, you know, special effects, doing sort of wind and creating sort of the on-stage effects. We had visual effects who were going to create the explosion. We had Chloe acting in phantom camera slow-mo, so she had to go, hey, like 10 times to make it look
like
right.
Really fast, but
yeah.
when you see it
and then,
complete,
you know,
it's so
the
gorgeous.
edit, and then Bear's score, and all those moments coming together, to me, that's a moment where you could feel everybody's contribution to making this thing really powerful, and it was a year and a half in the making, so we thought there was emotional resonance and that everybody pulled it off. It just, that to me is a moment that sticks out where we all kind of sat and went, that's awesome, we all did that together, you know.
For me, I think the best part about joining the show is coming into something that is, the quality is so high. Every single person that works on the show, the writers, the actors, every single person on the crew, everyone is so good at what they do, and the storytelling is so sharp and smart and thoughtful and really gets into some deep, meaningful stuff while still being funny and fun and action-filled and all those things. But you have an opportunity. They tell such great stories, and it's just fantastic to be a part of that.
For me, it's been to watch the characters and the actors change so much over the 5 seasons, and to bring different actors and characters into play against them.
This, for me, personally, is a dream. I was that kid. I was that kid who read comic books and, you know, hoped someday that there was going to be a television show based on these comic books and that it would be good. And so to every one of you, to the people behind me and to the people that are in front of me, I just want to say on behalf of myself and everyone at Marvel, Dan, Alan, Joe Q, just everybody, my partner Jim Corey, I just want to say thank you.
I was a little kid who moved all the time. My dad just moved a lot. I don't know why. He's a professor. Most people stick with a college, whatever. But he moved all the time, and all I had with me that I carried everywhere, I don't think I ever told him this, was I had some comics. I loved Marvel Comics, and so when I got this call that my guy down the street, Jon Favreau, had a tiny part, this guy named Agent, I was psyched. And to then kind of have this character be in a couple of the movies and then have this glorious death, I was psyched, but I was sad. Because it was such an amazing adventure with such incredible actors and incredible people, and I thought, you know what, I'm proud to go out that way, couldn't possibly top it. And then I get this legendary call that I'm perhaps not so dead. And then I was kind of happy and nervous.
To the next 100.
Now look at where? Now look at Karen?
Yeah, probably the iPhones.
Karen!
Cool, and this shot is done as well.
2, 3.